How do I kickstart business and start events in a highly skeptical environment in Canada? Great question. And this is so fascinating. I've been involved in network marketing for 20 years of my life. I'm about to turn 40 this year. And no, you don't need to comment that I don't look 40. It's okay. And I have done business all over the world. I've spoken in about 25 to 30 different countries doing training events and presentations and things like that. And every country that I go to, everyone, there's not an exception where I go and they say, there's not one that I go to and say, people in Kenya love network marketing. People in South Africa love network marketing. People in the UK, they love network marketing. I've never been to a country where they've said that. In every case, every country, they say, Matt, the thing about people in Canada or the thing about people in Poland is they're skeptical to network marketing. So realize that people in your country, people in your city, people in your state, wherever you are not so special. Don't think that you're in a more competitive environment. Don't think that you're in a more skeptical environment than anywhere else. Because the reality is people are people all over the world. People are always asking me, what are people like here? What are people like there? What motivates people here? What motivates people there? Everyone is motivated for the same thing. I've spent so much time traveling the world. This past year, over 150,000 miles all over the world, and people are people. People want freedom. People want to be in control of their circumstances. People want to be in control of their destiny. People want time freedom. They want to travel. They want to be able to pay off their debt. They want to be able to have nice things. They want to be able to contribute. They want to spend more time with their loved ones. And so people are people. And if you acknowledge it, and here's one thing that I was in a specific market and I said, I'm going to give you guys, it was with the leaders, I'm going to give you guys some coaching. Do not ever, ever, ever again say people in blank are anything negative at all. Because the only thing that can happen from that is getting lower results. Nothing good at all can happen from saying people in Canada are skeptical. The reality is people are people. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. See, I live in Dallas, Texas, and I refuse to admit that people in Dallas are skeptical. I refuse to admit that people in Dallas don't like network marketing. That's not gonna be part of my reality. And because I don't acknowledge it, guess what shows up for me more than not? I find people who are excited about network marketing. I find people who are excited about being an entrepreneur. Why? Because that's what I choose. I choose my own reality. So choose your own reality and don't worry about people who are skeptical. There's people who are skeptical everywhere, but if you go through enough numbers, you're going to find the people who are not skeptical, the people who do want to go forward. And then obviously, the more you work on your skills, the less skeptical people are because you understand how to overcome that. And so again, that's part of becoming better. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. So appreciate that question. Thank you so much for asking. And let's see what else we got. All right. Showing family versus friends. Should I say or do things differently? Great question. I appreciate that. Should you, in sharing with friends or family, should you do it differently? It's kind of a tough one because it depends on what your relationship is with your family. If you have a lot of credibility with your family, then you're going to share it very, very similarly. If you don't have a lot of credibility with your family, in many cases, your family are just not going to take you seriously. And it's really can be somewhat similar with your friends. And so if you are contacting, let's say you want to show this to your family, you want to show it to your uncle, your aunt, something like that. In some cases, if you're going to someone who's, maybe got more credibility than you, if you're going to them and you're business, and they're going to want to shut you down right away because they know you. They know you haven't had any success. They know you've done all kinds of crazy things, whatever it is. And so, you can kind of go with, it's almost like an opinion type invite. I'm not a big fan of doing this, but it is a great way to get someone to at least look. And this is where it becomes really important to bring in a third party. So I'm going to give you guys an invite. This is something that have seen a lot of success with from people who will never call their chicken list. You know, you got someone who's successful, uncle, aunt, something like that, and you're just too intimidated to call them and approach them on the business side. You might want to try approaching them just purely on the product side or the services side. That's a lot easier. If you do want to approach them on the business side, you can do the if I would you. So it's compliment if I would you. Here's how the invite works. Number one is you're going to give a sincere compliment. So Aunt Jane, you know, you're the sharpest, you're the smartest business person that I know, and I've always admired you. I've always appreciated how you've supported me and the things that I've done. You know, say something that's appropriate. So give the compliment, and then I'm gonna give you the invite for bringing in a third party. Okay, and it's important to bring in the third party because the invite is very effective, but a little bit weak. It's weak because you're saying, I want to get your opinion. That's not real strong, so I'm going to give you this invite, and it shows you how to kind of overcome that. So give the compliment, and then you say this: hey, my friend John and I, we're working on a business idea. If we were to share with you what we're working on, would you give us your honest opinion? Okay, so what you're doing is you're putting them up on a little bit of a pedestal, you're edifying them, you're complimenting them, and you're saying, you know, my friend John and I, we're working on a business idea. If we show you what we're doing, would you give me your honest opinion on it? Would you give me your honest feedback? I like feedback on it a little bit better than opinion. So they'll almost always say yes, because it's kind of like, oh, lad, I would love to mentor you, of course. So it's easy to get the appointment. And the reason why I said my friend John and I is because if it's just you going, they're going to be overly critical. Now, they don't know who John is. So John is your upline. John is a business partner in your company. So when you bring John in for the meeting that you set up, what you're going to do is you're going to do the edification triangle. So the edification triangle works kind of like this. So you're going to sit down with John and Aunt Jane, and you're going to say nice things about Aunt Jane. You're going to say, Aunt Jane, I appreciate you meeting with us. This is my friend John. John, Aunt Jane, amazing business person or amazing entrepreneur or amazing executive, amazing whatever. You're going to say good things about Aunt Jane. Then you're going to go on the other side of the triangle and you're going to edify your business partner, John. And you're going to say, you know, Aunt Jane, John is one of the most successful leaders in the area with the business idea that, you know, we're working on. And, you know, he's really agreed to mentor me and train me and work with me. And it's really, really, I mean, I just feel amazingly blessed to be able to work with someone of his caliber. So I'm going to have John explain our business idea. John, this is Aunt Jane. See, here's why this works so well is because the relationship you have between you and Aunt Jane is trust, but you don't necessarily have any credibility, okay? The relationship that you have with between Aunt Jane and John is credibility if you establish the credibility. So it's your job to establish that credibility, and you do that by edifying John. So that's what I would recommend. In general, if you have medium levels of authority, credibility, something like that, you can approach them pretty much the same way. But that one caveat I would say is if they really know you and you have absolutely no credibility, if you bring in a third party, that will work. If you don't have a third party credibility, you can still do the invite, the opinion invite. It's just not going to work quite as well as if you brought someone else in. So I appreciate that question. Thank you so much for asking.